Hey everyone, Mystical Mark here. So in this video I'm going to be talking about Mercury shadow. So Mercury will be going retrograde April 1st, and Mercury will enter shadow here on March 18th, and then of course we have the equinox, sun coming into Aries, on March 19th. So let me just pull up the chart here and we can have a little look. Alright, so with Mercury here entering into shadow, so Mercury is actually going to come into shadow while Mercury is on the North Node, and also conjunct Chiron. So this is going to be dealing with a lot of ourselves, our individuality in that sense, and moving forward. The reason why I'm going to kind of talk about this is because remember, when Mercury enters shadow, whenever we're in a shadow period, the themes of that shadow period are going to appear again throughout this retrograde. So Mercury will go retrograde. I believe Mercury will be beginning to square Pluto. So it'll be an out of sign square, as Mercury will still be in Aries, building in square here to Pluto in Aquarius. So Aries and Aquarius, they tend to, get along. Normally they would sextile. However, as Mercury normally, if it kept going, would move into the sign of Taurus, it would then square into Pluto. So Mercury would be building in square at this point. So again, this is dealing a lot with these shifts and transformations, not only of our mind, but in a sense of ourselves, our individuality, and kind of how we relate to that, especially with Mercury here is going to be conjunct Chiron and on the North Node. This is our trajectory forward, dealing with our aspect of self, right? The South Node is here in Libra, dealing with these aspects of relationships, and most notably, I think, aspects of codependency that maybe we need to release in this sense, but also find a lot more balance between the relationships in our lives and ourselves, and how we fit in those relationships as well, and understanding our own uniqueness here. Because as you can see, Mars here, the ruler of Aries, is in Aquarius. So this is taking action towards change, action towards our uniqueness, our individuality in that expression. We also have Mercury here in semi-sextile to Jupiter in Taurus. So this might feel a bit more subtle, but there's an aspect of this expansion of value and worth that comes with Taurus. So again, there's this aspect of uniqueness, individuality, that kind of stuff, and relating to our own value and worth. Especially with Mercury here on Chiron, this could be triggering a lot of these wounds, maybe an expression of this in a lot of ways as well. There is this quincunx here as well to Black Moon Lilith here in Virgo with this Mercury on the North Node on Chiron, right? So with Black Moon Lilith here in Virgo, we're dealing a lot with how we felt outcast in society, and in Virgo, this is dealing a lot with perfectionism, ideals of perfectionism, can deal with our day-to-day stuff, could deal with how maybe we're nitpicked at in certain ways, how we felt outcast like in our daily lives, and all that kind of sense, right? So there could be an integration that maybe needs to be involved here regarding this aspect of healing, especially with Mercury here. This is going to bring this to our awareness. And with Mercury retrograde in Aries, again, this is dealing with this aspect of self, our identity, that Mars expression again of who we are, the masculine part of us as well, in terms of maybe there's a masculine wound, right? We've lived through a lot of, patriarchal stuff, and a lot of that has been negative. A lot of that has been emphasized more on this masculine, you got to do this, we got to get this done, this go type of energy. And there's a wound that's built up with that. There could be like that toxic masculine part that's also built up with that in a sense, right? And that could relate to these ideals of perfectionism. These ideals of perfectionism as it relates to this masculine energy, right? Are we really right in saying men are only this if they are this certain way or whatever like that? So there's this balance here between this nodal axis that kind of needs to occur, right? Because with Mercury conjunct the North Node, it's opposing the South Node here in Libra. So yes, this can deal with a lot of maybe letting go of aspects of codependency or relationships, but I feel like Venus has kind of been through that place already, where she transited through, Capricorn and all that, of setting those boundaries and maybe letting go, and maybe some of that stuff is still existing in terms of letting go of old relationships. However, Venus is now in Pisces, so we're dealing with a lot more of like creative, more feminine type energy. Venus is making a quintile aspect here to Uranus, as well as these biquintiles to the south, biquintile to the South Node. Ignore the transiting ascendant here, it just kind of flew into my head, but So with these quintiles, this is like behind the scenes creative type energy. So there could be something creative forming surround maybe our relationships or these changes in our relationships. Venus is in Pisces. Pisces is a very mutable sign. Pisces likes to dissolve things. It's very malleable, changeable. It's water, right? There's no physicality to Pisces. So there's this shift in like maybe these endings and new beginnings, or maybe there's something creative happening in these realms in our life, especially with these quintile aspects. This is very creative stuff happening behind the scenes, could almost seem metaphysical in a sense as well. Venus is also in a novile aspect to Chiron here too as well. So this could be teaching us in a sense regarding these sensitivities maybe in our relationships, having compassion as well for ourselves. Pisces is a very compassionate sign, compassion for ourselves and our relationships as well as the other, and allowing them to have this experience regarding their individual self as well, right? Being an individual person, but also having time to spend time together within a relationship. And again, this isn't just romantic relationships, this is any relationship, right? So there is kind of that aspect. So again, those are the kinds of themes that are likely to be coming up here regarding on this day, because Mercury will enter into shadow, at 1558 degrees, roughly, of Aries. And this won't happen till about 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time, Central Time now as well, I guess. Daylight savings is, you know, messes up the mind a bit. But yeah, so this is happening later in the day on the 18th. So yeah, so these are likely the themes that are going to start to come up during this shadow period. And of course, as Mercury makes these aspects and does other things, the more this stuff is going to come up as well. And pay attention to that because it's going to be reflected again during the actual retrograde. So if we move to the next day here on the 19th, we do have the sun here coming into Aries. So this is that vernal equinox, that spring equinox. So we're changing sizes. Astrological New Year's. Happy Astrological New Year to everyone. This is the real New Year, not the New Year we celebrate in our bullshit calendar. So yeah. Anyway, so Sun in Aries, again, this is kind of emphasizing what I've already been discussing, as this is the next day and we're still kind of dealing with these things. But with this Sun in Aries, now we're dealing with, again, this identity, this aspect of self. There's a sextile here to this Pluto in Aquarius, this transformation of self regarding our individuality, our uniqueness, that rebel type energy where we want to take action in those areas, right? In expressing ourselves. The sun here will also peak in this semi-square to Jupiter here in Taurus, again representing that value, that worth. So this could be expanding our value and our self-worth in that sense. There's an opportunity here for growth and to learn in that sense as well. There's also this septile here to Uranus. So again, this is relating to those aspects of individuality and uniqueness, but regarding these value in this area of our value and our worth, and maybe where we need to shake up and change in that sense and not be so either not be so stubborn or release the stubbornness maybe of society, of the world, and how we felt in that way. It's like breaking free and truly kind of bringing in that essence of our own identity and self in that way as well. Right? And with this septile, it can seem like that's coming through from an outer realm, like this is happening for a reason and we're being pushed into this for a specific reason that we may not even know. It's just coming through. There's a quad novile here to Juno. So again, there's this aspect of dealing with these contractual partnerships. Juno is also in opposition to Venus here. So again, this is very much related, looking over these contractual partnerships and things like that, especially as it relates to Venus. There's a lot going on here regarding this. And I feel like with this nodal configuration, it's dealing with these aspects of self, wanting to move forward in the new direction and heal these wounds of ourselves, of our own masculine side, and balancing that out with our feminine side as well, and also healing these aspects of codependencies revolving around relationships. And there's a lot of creative stuff happening maybe in the background regarding these areas in terms of where we need to heal and come through in these ways. Again, Venus peaks in this biquintile to the south node. I've already spoken on that in this video as well. And Mars also in semi-sextile to Neptune. So again, regarding this dissolution, this dissolving of this kind of like recognizing our own individuality, our own uniqueness in this sense as well here. Anyways, I'm running out of time, guys. So thank you for watching. Have a great week. Happy Astrological New Year. And get ready for Mercury retrograde. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.